Hey, peace, family. Got a few things on my mind. Late night, just got done walking Zaza. This one is going to be a message to my single brothers, though. I had three things on my mind as I was walking Zaza tonight about things that I, I'm glad I kind of knew um, before I got married and before I started my family. But for those that are, looking for a wife, I just want to make sure that I put it out there if you all haven't really thought of it before, and things that recently got revealed to me as well. So some of it was like internally I kind of knew, but it was definitely revealed to me after I got married for sure. Um, and looking back, reflecting on the journey, the walk, on how I met her and how everything happened. I'm gonna do a separate video on how I knew she was, the one. But I'm gonna talk about the three things right now for my single brothers that are in the faith, for you all to definitely pay attention to and keep on your mind as you're looking for a wife. Number one, let's go ahead and hop into it. Number one is you have to surrender to the Most High first. That was something that, as I look back, it's one thing to be a believer. It's one thing to be in the faith and to be on your walk and on your journey, and it's a totally different thing to surrender. Until you truly surrender, it's going to be hard for you, because that same type of surrender you're going to have to give to your wife. You have to surrender to your wife. The scripture speaks of it as well. Of course, there's a hierarchy, a divine hierarchy that the Most High did implement, being that Christ, the Messiah, is the head of man, man is the head of woman. Yes, wives, it says to be submissive to your husband. Husbands, it says to love your wives as Christ loved the church. So there is a hierarchy to this thing, but it also says that you have to surrender to one another. And that's definitely something that you have to do when you get married. You have to surrender to one another's time. You have to surrender to one another's will. There's times where I am totally like locked in. Like for me, when I get locked in, like I'm like a pit bull when I get locked onto something, bro. I'm really like super locked in on it, like a lion, like really, stalking its prey. I get super locked in. And having a wife, it's like I didn't realize that I have to break this concentration now in order to, divinely serve you. I'm supposed to be a servant as your husband. I'm here to serve you as well. My body is not my own. Your body is not your own, as the scriptures teach us. So if there's something that you need, it's like, okay, I have to give her this. Conjugal rights. I have to really sit here and give you this time. So now, my time, my days look totally different, where when I was a single brother, I knew that, okay, if I wake up at 8 o'clock, I can get 10 items done on this day. I'm just using a hypothetical number right now for this situation, right? I can get 10 things done if I wake up at 8 a.m. and I'll feel like I had a fulfilled day. Now being married, I wake up at the same time, and I'm now down to like 5-6 items that I've been able to complete, and I feel a little less fulfilled in terms of, dang, I was supposed to get this done, but I didn't get this done because I have to serve my wife. So now it's like, in order for me to get these things done, I'm either having to stay up later in order to get them done, or I'm having to wake up earlier in order to get them done. And this is something that I didn't really foresee coming into my marriage, was the fact that by my serving my wife, my time and the amount of time really it takes to serve your wife and to surrender to this relationship, and there's a lot of things I'm very you know, ambitious, and there's a lot of things that y'all willing, I will complete on my time here on this plane. But with that, it's like, okay, you know, going into my second point now, I do wish, I won't say wish, I do now look back and, I won't say regret either, but I think that I should have accomplished more before I got married. As a single brother, you know, I was so looking forward to get married, and I am so thankful that I am married. You know, but given the scenario that I just provided you in my first point, being that surrendering to your wife is time consuming, there is a lot that I do still have on my plate that I would have been able to just burn through as a single brother versus now being married and with a baby. Obviously, I just kind of like shot myself with that one, in a beautiful way though. Because I knew it's a double-edged sword, because I knew that having a child, a son, you know, praise Yah, man, was gonna motivate me and put a different fire under me that being a single brother I didn't really have at the same time. So it's a double-edged sword there. I love it. Like, I'm not complaining at all. All praises to the Most High. Thank you. You know, I'm just telling my single brothers that are currently in this situation, because I remember being a single brother, and I remember, you know, also having idle time, you know, and we know what idle time is. It could be a devil's workshop if not used properly. But I remember, you know, there were some times where I'm like, okay, like, you know, I'll binge watch this Netflix show. You know, I'll go hang out with the homies. You know, I'll do what, you know, I'm just chilling. You know, times where I could have really been on this same grind that I was on, like, right before I got married. I had all these years to do the same thing. But all that just to say, accomplish your goals prior to getting married, you know, especially prior to having a child as well. And establish a routine for your life before you get married. You know, that's you know, this part of the second bullet point as well. Establishing a routine. There was a routine. There was a way. I knew my body very well before I got married. You know, I knew that, okay, I need to eat my sea moss gel. You know, when I don't have my sea moss, this is what that does to me. I feel, you know, I know what having the sea moss and my green tea in the morning does for my body. My green tea with my manuka honey, with my lion's mane powder in it, or maca powder in it. I know what this does for my body. You know, I know what eating one meal a day does for my body. I know what a cold shower after a workout does for my body. Walking the trail with Zaza, you know, doing my calisthenics, my stretches in the morning. I knew my body very well. I knew how to, you know, move through my day. So when something was off, I could be able to say, oh, I haven't been doing this. So I was very, very aware of myself. That's, you know, one of the key principles in this life is to know thyself. And at that age of, I'm 29 right now. I was 27 when I met my wife, you know, and at that age, I knew myself very well to be able to know, like, okay, this is my routine. This is how I move. Because when you get married, that routine is going to get tested, especially when you have a baby, bro. Like, that routine gets tested. You wake up in the morning and your wife is broken the blinds because she's trying to kill a fly. True story. And now you got to go handle that. Or, you know, you wake up in the morning and it's you know, it's whatever she might need. And again, we have to surrender. So that's that, you know. So it could be whatever, and then that might throw it off, you know, as I mentioned in the first bullet point. So first bullet point, just to recap, first bullet point is you have to surrender to Yah first, and then that will lead way into surrendering to your wife, and then second bullet point is accomplish as many goals as you can prior to getting married, and make sure that you have an established routine for your life before you get married as well. And the third and last bullet point that I'll speak on tonight is your friends, the company that you keep. I just came from a wedding, and a beautiful wedding, and it just made me think about friends. It made me think about the company that you keep. It was my little sister, pretty much, my little play sister, my actual blood sister's best friend when we were growing up. And so she got married, and it was beautiful, and I could just, being able to discern spirits, kind of tell, you can see through the veil, and you can see that, not everybody's always going to be happy for you, those that are close to you. And being that she is like my little sister, I'm just kind of like peeping the scene, looking around. And, I noticed a few things, but it just made me think about, hey, you have to really be careful with the people that you keep around your wife, that you bring into your home, that you, especially being around your children. But, that energy, man, that energy is very strong. That energy is very strong. And, we have to continuously pray to the Most High for discernment. I mentioned in my last video, where I was speaking about certain things that I had gone through at the age of 26. I went through a lot of betrayal at 26 and 27, and I'm kind of glad certain things were exposed to me then, and it increased my discernment like tenfold, man, 100-fold. I was very kind of green and just wanting people to be good, and wanting to bring people to God, and wanting to not understanding that certain people have their own agendas, man, and you're not going to be able to change everybody the way that you want. Sometimes your thing is just, planting the seed, and my mom told me that years ago, is sometimes you just have to plant the seed and not be attached to the outcome. So that's one of the parables in the scriptures. You throw these seeds out there. However they land is how they land. But at least you're throwing the seeds out. So yeah, you just definitely want to be careful and discern those that are around you now before you get married, because once you get married, you're bringing them around your wife, and you don't want that to be something that's in the way of your relationship of, oh, I don't really know about so-and-so. And it's like, but no, that so-and-so is my guy. Woo, 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 woo. Like, I'm very aware of those that I have around me. And I've told my wife those that I have around me that I'm like, yeah, nah, bro is, nah, bro ain't it. In that capacity. But over here, I bang with bro. And that's a whole thing for a whole different day. I plan on writing a book, actually, about that. The 3 different kingdoms. One is the kingdom of heaven, one is the kingdom of earth, and one is the kingdom of business. So if I have a brother that's in the faith, hey, you're top tier. My kingdom of heaven brothers, top tier. My kingdom of heaven sisters, top tier. And then those that are, on earth, those that, are just very good people on earth, but don't really have knowledge of the Most High. Okay, like, that's still beautiful. I'm not able to lean on you the same way I'm able to lean on those in the faith, just because you don't really have knowledge of the spiritual warfare and the kingdom of heaven in that realm. But still beautiful people. And then you have your people, kingdom of business, that are, your coworkers, that are your business partners, that are, just those that are in that money making, that type of industry. And You need them as well. But again, they're not as close as the ones, in the kingdom of earth, and they're not as close to, obviously, as the ones to the kingdom of heaven. So that's a whole different thing. If y'all want me to break that down even more, I plan on doing a video about that, because y'all revealed that to me years ago, and that really helped me when I was going through my everything with my betrayal. That really helped me. He revealed that to me afterwards, and ever since then I've been able to kind of compartmentalize certain people in my mind and put them in certain categories, and that would help me realize that, okay, like, you're a kingdom of business, so I keep it there. Kingdom of business is typically, kind of cold cut. Think of Tin Man from the Wizard of Oz. It's like, okay, we're just talking about business. Typically it has nothing to do with personal. That's why, and that's when I learned, like, hey, business isn't, this ain't personal, it's just business. That phrase, right? And so that's a real thing. As I grew up, I realized, like, no, it's literally just business. But I'm going off on a tangent now. I'm just gonna recap the last three things, and then I'm gonna get out of here. Number one, as we wrap it up, number one is surrender to Yah, surrender to your wife. But you have to surrender to Yah first, the Most High first. Number two is accomplish your goals before you get married, and establish routines before you get married. And lastly, number three is you want to have discernment. You want to watch out for those people that you have around you now, and really just test the spirit in them now, prior to you beginning your family as a young single man. Even if you're not a young single man, even if you're an elder man, wiser man, if you're just listening to this as a man in the faith, those are three things that I was just thinking about tonight on my walk with Zaza, and just wanted to share with you all. So that's it. As I always say, all praise to the Most High Yah. See y'all on Judgment Day, and you all have an amazing evening. All right.